Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Week in Review. Here in a Dice Tower, this is a show that we put out each week, basically telling you about all the videos that we did the previous week. And then if you say, hey, that sounds interesting, happily, we put the links in the description below where you can watch the full review. You ready? I'm ready. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, I'm Garcia. Here's what I reviewed last week. So I reviewed Break-In Area 51, which I rate a 3 out of 10. This is an escape room style game that has very few puzzles in it. Some of them are very terribly explained. The game is very linear. It does a lot of ineffective hand-holding. I think you'll be lost for a good chunk of the game. And the puzzles do get a little bit better, which is actually why it bumped up to a 3 for me. Some of them are interesting in there, but overall, this is pretty near the bottom of the ladder when it comes to escape room style games. Get pretty much any other one, and I think it's going to be a better experience for you. I reviewed Black Rose Wars, which I rate a 7 out of 10. This is a big, sprawling, epic, wizard on wizard magic kind of game, okay? It's very deep, meaning there's a lot going on. There's a lot to understand. It's the kind of game that's going to demand a lot from you. It's the kind of game that'll probably make a bad first impression. You'll feel out of your depth, or at least like you're not really grasping it. And there's just a ton going on in it. But if it's the kind of game you want to devote some time to, you want to get into, you want to understand what the different schools of magic mean, I think you're going to find something that is enjoyable. There are many mechanisms in it that are interesting, and I think the production quality is excellent. Lastly, I reviewed Tournament at Avalon, which I rate an 8 out of 10, and this is a follow-up to Tournament at Camelot, a trick-taking game, which is kind of kooky. Well, Tournament at Avalon is very similar. It's sort of, I've heard it again described as like a cosmic encounter type game with crazy, wild, swingy powers meets a trick-taking game. And I would say that's pretty spot on. This is a game that I worry is going to have a hard time finding an audience. I think people who like trick-taking games aren't going to like this. It's it is chaotic, okay? This is a woo-hoo-hoo kind of game. And I think people who want those kinds of games might overlook this one because it looks serious from the look of the cover and the fact that it's a trick-taking game. So I worry about that. But if you want to play something kind of, like a fighty game that's kind of rambunctious, wrapped around trick-taking, this one does that well. It does. Just don't take it too seriously. Don't go in there expecting to be able to manipulate a lot of things to your favor and be really, show your tactical prowess. And I think you're going to have a good time with it. I think it's a neat game. It's very different. So there you go. That's it for me. My name is Garcia. See you on the next one.
So this week I took a look at Funfair. Definitely a cool little theme park themed game. I'm not as big into the theme park theme, but I really enjoyed the mechanics and how all the stuff went together as you're trying to build up the different attractions and fulfill blueprints, and definitely a more casual, interesting game, so that is a 7 for me. And then I also took a look at Dice Throne Adventures. This takes Dice Throne and allows you to play it cooperatively as you're going through this different dungeon. I give this a 7.5. I think it's a great way to be able to play the game solo or cooperatively, but I definitely enjoy regular Dice Throne more. And the game is a bit pricey, but if you're into playing the game cooperatively or you want to play it by yourself when you don't have another player to go up against, I think it's definitely an interesting game. And of course, Favorite Game Friday. We talked about auction games. Always fun to have everybody join in on Favorite Game Friday. Make sure to check those videos out.
Hey everyone, this week I was a part of 3 different reviews. First, on a joint review with my wife Wendy, we looked at Kanban EV. Both of us gave this one a 7 because while I enjoy this game and it does a lot of great things, it's also a bit more difficult than I would necessarily want. And it's not even the difficulty, it's that you can get shut out of actions, but I think that this is just a really compelling game that I keep wanting to come back to. So even though I've been angry, I've also had tons of fun with it. And so check out that one. The next review I was part of was the Foursquare's review of Dice Throne Adventures. I'm torn. I gave this one a 7. I wanted to give it something higher of a rating because it's very fun and I enjoy the idea of making this a cooperative game, but there's a few little things that it struggles with, but also the value of it is something I have a harder time recommending necessarily, but I still think people will have fun playing this one. And lastly, I looked at Trois Dice. I gave this one a 7.5. It was going to be a little bit lower, but then It has a built-in expansion, which is nice for a little roll and write game like this. And there's also some scenarios you can play through online, which really change things up and make it more fun and make me want to keep playing this one. Plus, it's the only roll and write game I've ever played where the game has a special die that destroys parts of your player sheet throughout the second half of the game. And so it does something really unique and has a nice hook. So that was my week.
Hey guys, Blake here, and this week I took a look at Capone, a 2 to 5 player hidden auction card drafting game set in the days of speakeasies and prohibition. And for me, it kind of straddled the line of not being party enough for a party game and not being serious enough for more hardcore gamers, and it's about a 6.5.
Yo, my peoples, what's up? This is Jason coming at you from my favorite gaming store, The Portal in Manchester, Connecticut. Yeah, it's cold. I reviewed one game and its expansion of the Dice Tower this week with Liz, Semper Ludimus review for Alter Quest, dungeon crawling from the Sadler Brothers. I gave it an 8.5 seal of excellence, nudged it a little bit above Tom. Liz didn't like it so much because she didn't have the expansion. I did. I love it. Also reviewed one of those expansions, The Ruins of Arkenspire for Alter Quest. Gave this one a 7 out of 10. I think it didn't give what I want out of that game, which is the environmental stuff, but it does have some modes in there that you're going to want to look at too. So this is Jason signing off. Thank you very much and enjoy your day.
Hey there everybody, it's Mike DiLisio, and this week I did 4 reviews. First, I did a review in a 4 squares fashion for Funfair. I rated this game a 6.5 out of 10. It's a fine game, I enjoyed it, but I feel like this is a very crowded genre, and although it has a nice theme of building up your own theme park, there's a lot of other games that do a similar thing in a similar time period that I would rather play than that one. I was also part of another 4 squares review for Dice Throne Adventures. I gave this an 8 out of 10. I really like Dice Throne as a game system, and Dice Throne Adventures now allows you to play it as a cooperative campaign experience. And you can also play it solo, and it's another reason why I'm pretty happy about it. The game's not perfect, it certainly has some issues, but it really boils down to the fact that I think it's a lot of fun. It's a game I want to keep coming back to. I also did a solo review for Maglev Metro, and I gave that an 8 out of 10. This is a pick up and deliver pick up and deliver mechanic in a themed game around magnetic trains. I really enjoyed the core kind of efficiency puzzle that the game gave. I like this a lot as a solo game. And then finally, my highest score for the week was for Wildlands, The Ancients. I rated this an 8.5 out of 10. This is the newest big box expansion for the Wildlands skirmish game system. I really like Wildlands, and this is a modular expansion that allows you to do a number of things. Number one, you can play it now cooperatively, 1 or 2 players against this faction known as the Ancients, or you can play as the Ancients, and it changes up how the game plays a little bit, or you can now also play it as a large group team game up to 6 players. So a really good expansion and a high recommendation seal of excellence for Wildlands The Ancients. That's it for me this week. Let's keep it moving.
Okay, so for me, Dice Throne Adventures, I think I may have liked it the least here with a 6. I like Dice Throne a lot, but this just felt okay to me. I felt like it was almost too complicated for how light the system actually was. 7 Bridges is a stroll and write game. It's a roll and write game as you draw roads through a city by drafting dice. It's okay. I enjoyed it, but it's going to feel samey because you play on the same map all the time, and there's a few things that you have to do in it. Bloodborne, the board game. Not a big fan of the theme here of Bloodborne, but the actual game itself is very interesting. Using your cards for very deterministic style combat with a little bit of luck, but it's hard to explain, but it's not your typical dungeon crawl. So I also took a look at all the Bloodborne stuff. I didn't review it, but just took a look at all the many expansions that there are for the game. Call to Adventure, Stormlight Archive. That's actually my favorite theme in the world. Call to Adventure, a story-based game. It's very simple, throwing runes, trying to, mitigate your luck as you try different things, but you're building a story based on Brandon Sanderson's amazing novels. Fun. Kohaku. Now this wins the award for the prettiest game of the week with clear acrylic tiles that have a 3D as you build your koi pond. You just draft 2 tiles, put them down, score points. Really, really good game. Funfair. All of us took a look at this. I like this the best of everybody. As you build an amusement park, a kind of riff on Unfair, which came out a few years ago, but this has Let's Take That, which I like a lot. Now, I mentioned Dice Throne Adventures. I also took a look at Dice Throne Season 1 ReRolled. I like this game. Actually, this game has gone up considerably for me since I first played Dice Throne, and this production value and everything is amazing. A 2-player Yahtzee attack-style dice game. Aquatica Cold Waters. This game is fantastic. It was an expansion for Aquatica. Adds a 5th player, and it's one, and it also has a lot of little things that I'll always play with if I play Aquatica. Firefighters, a little kids game. This one works well for little kids. Also, me and my kids both took a look at Sleeping Gods. We reviewed that last week, but you can go watch Ruby and Violet's opinion of it. We did a Catch-a-Palooza on Rescue Polar Bears. We did our top 10 exploration games. We did Shoot Some Marbles, a boring unboxing, 5 more great games series going on. And so lots of different things. We did some playthroughs on Tuesday and Friday. So there's a lot of different things you can check out. Either way, I hope you enjoyed the Dice Tower. We're going to put out a lot more stuff this week. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Week in Review.